I've been paying my parents' mortgage for 8 years. Found out they're giving the house to my sister. My name is Adam, and I'm 31 years old. Right now, I'm sitting here in my apartment, my tiny, cramped apartment that I could have upgraded years ago. And I'm still shaking. Not from anger anymore, from relief. From the weight finally lifting off my shoulders after 8 years of carrying everyone else. This whole situation feels surreal, but I need to get it out. Maybe writing it down will help me process what just happened. Let me take you back to where this all started. I was 24 years old. I graduated college with a degree in computer science and landed a pretty decent job right out of school. Nothing fancy, junior developer position, but it paid $65K, which felt like a fortune after living on ramen and student loans. My parents were so proud. Dad actually cried at my graduation. Mom kept telling everyone at the party about my son, the computer genius. I was the first person in my family to graduate college. My sister Ashley dropped out after a year and a half, said it wasn't for her. She was 22 at the time, working part-time at a boutique, living at home, and perfectly content with that arrangement. 3 months after I started my job, Dad sat me down for a talk. That's never good, right? He looked tired, more tired than usual. He told me that he'd lost his job 6 months ago. 6 months! They'd hidden it through my entire last semester of college, through graduation, through everything. "We didn't want to worry you during your finals," Mom said. She was crying. They were 3 months behind on the mortgage. The bank was sending letters. They were looking at foreclosure. Dad had been applying everywhere, but at 58 years old with a bad back, nobody was calling him back. Mom worked part-time as a receptionist, barely making $20K a year. "We don't know what to do," Dad said. And then he looked at me with these hopeful eyes. "You're doing so well now. We're so proud of you. And we thought maybe just until I find something." What was I supposed to say? No? Let my parents lose the house I grew up in? Their mortgage payment was $1,800 a month. With property taxes and insurance, it came to about $2,300 monthly. I said yes. Of course, I said yes. "Just temporarily," Dad promised. 6 months, tops. Just until I get back on my feet.
Year 1. The sacrifice begins. That first year was brutal. I was making $65K before taxes. After taxes, insurance, 401K contributions, which I later stopped, I was taking home about $3,800 a month. I was paying $2,300 of that to my parents' mortgage. I had $1,500 left for everything else. My rent was $850 for a studio apartment in a not great neighborhood. That left $650 for food, gas, student loan payments, utilities, and literally everything else in my life. I stopped going out with coworkers, stopped dating, couldn't afford it. I ate pasta and chicken and rice, same rotation, every week. My college friends would invite me to concerts or weekend trips, and I'd make excuses. Eventually, they stopped inviting me. I told myself it was temporary. Dad would find a job, things would go back to normal. But Dad didn't find a job, at least not one that paid anything close to what he used to make. After 8 months, he found work doing maintenance at an office building. Night shift, $15 an hour. It helped, but it wasn't enough to cover the mortgage. Just a little longer, he'd say. Something better will come along. Meanwhile, Ashley was still living at home, rent-free, still working part-time at the boutique. I remember coming over for Sunday dinner and she'd be talking about buying a new designer purse she'd been saving for. Saving from what? I wanted to ask. She had zero expenses, but I didn't say anything. I was the good son, the responsible one, the one who had it together. Year 2, the resentment grows. I got a raise at the end of my first year, 10%. I was making $71,500 now. You know what I did with that extra money? Nothing. It went straight to my parents. Dad had asked if I could help with some repairs the house needed. The roof was leaking. The water heater was making concerning noises. Could I chip in? My extra $6,500 a year became their repair fund. I was 26 years old and I had less than $1,000 in my savings account. If my car died, I was screwed. If I had a medical emergency, I was screwed. But the house was fine. My parents were fine. Ashley got a new car that year, a Honda Civic. Used but new to me, she posted on Instagram with a million heart emojis. Mom and Dad co-signed for her. They couldn't afford to help me with my mortgage, but they could co-sign a car loan. When I asked Mom about it, she got defensive. Ashley needs a reliable car for work. Her old one was falling apart. What about me? I asked. I'm literally paying your mortgage. That's different, Mom said. You're helping family. That's what family does. You're not expecting something in return, are you? That shut me up. Because what could I say? Yes, actually, I am expecting something. That made me sound like a selfish asshole. So I swallowed it down, added it to the growing pile of resentment I was building. Year 3, the promises. By year 3, I was getting better at my job. I switched companies and got a significant bump, $85K. I was 27 years old and finally making real money. I should have been excited. I should have been planning trips, upgrading my apartment, actually having a life. But instead, I just felt tired. Dad's health was getting worse. His back problems meant he couldn't work the maintenance job anymore. He went on disability, which paid a fraction of what he'd been making. The $2,300 mortgage payment was now almost entirely on me. Plus, I was covering some of their utilities because things were tight. I was paying close to $3,000 a month for my parents' expenses. One Sunday dinner, Dad pulled me aside. Son, I want you to know how much we appreciate everything you're doing. Your mother and I, we talk about it all the time. You're literally saving our lives. Dad, it's fine, I said, because what else do you say? No, it's not fine. You're giving up so much. We know that. He got emotional. We're gonna make this right. When we're gone, this house goes to you. You've earned it. More than earned it. That was the first time he said it explicitly. The house would be mine. We're going to put it in writing. Make it official. You'll inherit the house. It's the least we can do. I felt something loosen in my chest. Not relief exactly, but validation. Like, okay, at least there was an end game here. I wasn't just throwing money into a void. I was investing in my future, in something that would eventually be mine. I kept painting.
Year 4. Ashley's life continues. Ashley got engaged. His name was Derek. Nice enough guy, I guess. Worked in sales. They'd been dating for 6 months. Mom was over the moon. She and Ashley started planning this elaborate wedding. Destination wedding in Mexico. All-inclusive resort. The works. How are they affording this? I asked Mom. Derek's parents are helping, and we're chipping in what we can. You're chipping in? I stared at her. With what money? We have some savings, sweetie, and this is Ashley's special day. We want to help make it perfect. The wedding cost my parents $8,000. I know because Dad mentioned it one night, complaining about the expense and then caught himself. But it's worth it. You only get married once, right? I thought about how I'd been denied help with my student loans because we just don't have it right now. I thought about my studio apartment, my non-existent dating life, my complete lack of savings. But I showed up to the wedding, smiled in the photos, gave them a nice gift I couldn't afford. Because that's what you do, right? At the reception, during his speech, Dad talked about how proud he was of both his children. My daughter, who's starting her new life with Derek, and my son, who's been our rock these past few years. We're so blessed. People clapped. A few people told me how great I was afterward, and I just nodded and drank my free beer and tried not to scream. Year 5, the new house. Ashley and Derek bought a house, a starter home, 3 bedrooms, nice neighborhood. Mom wouldn't stop talking about it. They got such a good deal, and Derek's parents helped with the down payment, which was so generous. Ashley's gonna make it so beautiful. I was 29 years old. I've been paying my parents' mortgage for 5 years. I had less than $5,000 in savings. I couldn't even imagine buying a house. But Ashley, who'd worked part-time retail for years, who'd lived at home rent-free, who'd had everything handed to her, was a homeowner. Isn't it exciting? Mom asked. Maybe you'll be next. I laughed, actually laughed. Sure, Mom, maybe. You just need to save up for a down payment, she said, helpfully. Cut back on some expenses. Cut back on expenses.
Right, let me just cut back on the $3,000 a month I'm giving you. But I didn't say that either. Year 6, the pandemic. Then COVID hit. You remember 2020. Everything went to hell. But honestly, for me, things got better. I was already living like a hermit, already never went out, already had no social life. So lockdown was just more of the same. Except now I was working from home, which meant I saved on gas. And I got another raise. Switched jobs again, fully remote, 105K salary. I was 30 years old and finally making 6 figures. The smart thing would have been to cut back what I was giving my parents, to set boundaries, to say I've done enough. But Dad's disability payments were getting reduced because of some bureaucratic nightmare. They needed more help, not less. So I increased what I was sending them now, $3,500 a month now. I was making more money than I ever had, and I felt poorer than ever. Ashley had a baby, a girl. They named her Madison. Mom and Dad were obsessed grandparents. Mom retired from her receptionist job to help with childcare 3 days a week. "It's so wonderful," Mom gushed. "I get to spend all this time with Madison. I feel so blessed." "I was paying your mortgage so you could retire at 62 to babysit your golden child's baby," I thought, but didn't say. Year 7, the conversation. I turned 31. No party, no celebration. I worked, I paid my parents' bills, I existed. A few of my coworkers who'd become friends started asking questions. Why didn't I even want to go out? Why was I always broke despite making good money? Where was it all going? I didn't tell them at first. It felt too personal, too embarrassing. But one night, after a few beers on a Zoom call, it all came spilling out. "Dude, that's not normal. You've been doing this for how long?" 7 years. 7 years? And you still don't own any part of the house? You don't have your name on the deed? "It's not like that," I said. "They promised me I'd inherit it." "Promised? Is it in writing?" I paused. "I said they were going to make it official. Did they?" "I don't know." "I assume so." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Brother, you need to check on that. You need to protect yourself. 7 years of payments? You should have equity. You should have something." That conversation stayed with me, not at me. The next Sunday dinner, I brought it up. Casual, light. "Hey, Dad, remember when you said you'd put it in writing that I'd inherit the house? Did you ever do that?" Dad looked uncomfortable. "Well, we talked to a lawyer about estate planning, and it's complicated. There's tax implications, and we want to be fair to both our children." Both children? My stomach dropped. "What does that mean? Be fair to both children?" Mom jumped in. "We just mean that Ashley is our daughter too. We love you both equally. We'd never want one of you to feel like you got less than the other." "I've been paying your mortgage for 7 years, I said slowly. "Ashley has paid $0 for 7 years. "That's not fair," Mom said. "Ashley has her own family to take care of, her own expenses. I do too." My voice was rising. "Or I would if I wasn't paying for your expenses." "We didn't ask you to do this," Dad said quietly. "What?" "We didn't force you to help us. You offered. And we're grateful, but you can't hold that over our heads now." I stared at him. At them. These people I sacrificed everything for, who were looking at me like I was being unreasonable. I left dinner early that night, drove home in silence, sat in my apartment, and realized I'd been a complete fool.
Year 8, the discovery. 3 weeks ago, everything came crashing down. I was at my parents' house. They'd asked me to come over to help move some furniture. Ashley was there too, with Derek and Madison. Big family day. I needed to use the bathroom. Went upstairs to the one I'd used growing up because Ashley's kid was in the downstairs one. And on the desk in Dad's office, I saw a stack of papers. Official looking papers from a law office. I shouldn't have looked. I know that. It was an invasion of privacy. But the top page said quitclaim deed, and I saw Ashley's name. My heart started pounding. I looked over my shoulder. Everyone was downstairs. I could hear them laughing. I picked up the papers. It was a quitclaim deed, transferring ownership of the house from my parents to Ashley and Derek, dated 2 weeks ago, signed and notarized. There were other papers, estate planning documents, a will. I flipped through them with shaking hands. Everything was going to Ashley. The house, which was being transferred now, the life insurance policies, a savings account I didn't even know existed with $40,000 in it. Where did that come from when they couldn't afford their mortgage? There was a note paperclip to the documents in my mom's handwriting. This way we can avoid estate taxes and probate. Ashley and Derek can take ownership now and we can live here until we pass. So much simpler. I stood there in my childhood bedroom, looking at documents that proved my parents had been planning to cut me out entirely after 8 years of me paying their mortgage, after all the promises. I took photos of everything with my phone, every page. Then I put the papers back exactly how I found them. I went back downstairs. Ashley was showing Mom some new pictures of Madison. Dad was watching a game. Everyone was happy and comfortable in the house that I had been paying for, the house that was now legally Ashley's. "Hey, I'm not feeling great," I said. "I'm gonna head out." "Oh no," Mom said. "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" "No," I said. "I think I've given enough." Nobody caught the edge on my voice. Or if they did, they didn't say anything. The plan. I went home and I looked at those photos for hours, read every word. The deed was done, legal, official. The house was Ashley's. 8 years. 8 years of payments. Rough math, $2,300 a month for 96 months, that's $220,800. Plus the extra money for repairs, utilities, emergencies, easily $250,000 I'd given them. $250,000 gone to a house that was now my sister's, that had apparently always been going to be my sister's, despite every promise my parents had made. I wasn't sad. I wasn't hurt. I was done. Monday morning, I called my bank, set up a new account at a different bank actually, transferred all my money, closed the old account where my automatic payment to my parents came from. Then I blocked my parents' number, blocked Ashley's number, blocked my aunts and uncles who I knew would get involved. I didn't tell them I was stopping. Didn't send a text, didn't call, just stopped. Let them figure it out when the payment didn't show up. The fallout, week 1. They figured it out fast. My phone started ringing Wednesday morning, unknown numbers. I didn't answer. Voicemails started piling up. I listened to them once, took notes, then deleted them. First was Dad. "Hey son, I think there might be an issue with the payment. It didn't come through. Can you call me?" Then Mom, a few hours later. "Honey, we're worried about you. The mortgage payment didn't process. Are you okay? Please call us back." By Thursday, the tone was changing. "Dad, we need you to call us back. This is serious. The payment is late." Ashley left her first message. "Hey, what the hell? Mom and Dad are freaking out. Answer your phone." By Friday, the messages got more desperate. "Mom, please, we don't understand what's happening. Did we do something wrong? Talk to us. We can't afford to miss this payment." The only text I sent was to Dad, from a text app so they couldn't respond. "Check the documents on your desk, the house deed. Then you'll understand why I'm done." Week 2, the panic. The messages got more frantic, more angry. "Ashley, you're going to let Mom and Dad lose their house. Over what? You're being psychotic." Dad, "Son, I saw your message. We need to talk about this. You're misunderstanding the situation. Please." Various aunts and uncles started calling. The family phone tree had clearly been activated. I let those go to voicemail too. "Uncle Dave, Your parents are beside themselves. Whatever this is about, family doesn't treat family this way. Aunt Linda, I thought you were better than this. Your parents are good people who raised you, and this is how you repay them? The messages I kept were the ones that revealed the truth. Mom, crying. We gave Ashley the house because she has a child. She needs stability. You're single. You don't need a house yet. We were going to help you when you settled down. When I settled down. After 8 years of paying their mortgage, they were going to help me when I met their conditions for deserving it. Dad, we were going to pay you back. Once we sold the house years from now, we were going to give you some of the money. Some of the money from the house that I'd paid for. How generous. Ashley left a voicemail that was pure venom. You're ruining everything. Mom's having panic attacks. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. If something happens to them, it's on you. All because you're jealous that I got the house. Grow up. I listened to that one twice. Save that one. Week 3. The visit. They showed up at my apartment. All of them. Mom, Dad, Ashley, Derek. Didn't call first, just showed up on a Sunday morning and started pounding on the door. I looked through the people, saw them standing there. Mom was crying, Dad looked furious. Ashley looked like she wanted to break down my door. I didn't open it. We know you're in there, Ashley shouted. Your car is here. Please, honey, Mom sobbed. Please just talk to us. You're being unreasonable, Dad called out. You're your parents. You owe us at least a conversation. I owe you? I thought. That's rich. I sat on my couch and put in earbuds, turned on music, waited for them to leave. They stayed for 45 minutes, knocking, calling through the door, making a scene. I'm sure my neighbors loved it. Finally, they left. Ashley left a note under my door. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity got the better of me. You're destroying this family. Mom and Dad are going to lose everything because you're having a tantrum. I have a daughter to think about. We need this house. You're single with no responsibilities. Stop being selfish and help your family. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. The audacity was almost impressive. Week 4. The consequences. The mortgage payment was officially late. I know this because Mom left a voicemail about the late fee. It's $150. Please, just this one payment. We'll figure something else out after this. Figure something else out. After 8 years, now they'd figure something else out. Ashley and Derek were apparently scrambling to figure out how to make the payments on a house they now legally owned. The house that they'd gotten as a gift. The house that they'd done nothing to earn. From what I could piece together from various angry voicemails, they'd gone to the bank to try to refinance or something, but the mortgage was still in my parents' names. The quitclaim deed gave them ownership, but not responsibility for the existing mortgage. I'd looked this up. I'd done my homework. So my parents were still on the hook for the mortgage on a house they no longer owned. And Ashley owned the house with a mortgage she couldn't afford. It was a mess. A beautiful, justified mess. Dad left a voicemail, his voice shaking. The bank is starting foreclosure proceedings. We have 60 days. Please, don't do this. Don't let it end this way. Aunt Linda left another message. Your mother is on blood pressure medication now because of the stress you're causing her. Is this really what you want? To hurt your own mother? I wanted to call her back, to explain, to lay out every single thing I'd sacrificed, every promise they'd broken, every dismissal I'd swallowed. But I didn't. There was nothing to say to people who'd never understand.
The breaking point. Week 5. My cousin Jeremy texted me. We'd always been close growing up, and I hadn't blocked him because he lived across the country and wasn't part of the immediate drama. Dude, what's going on? Your mom called my mom crying, said you're letting them go into foreclosure? I thought about ignoring it, but Jeremy was always fair, always straight with me. So I sent him everything. The photos of the deed, the estate documents, screenshots of the messages, a detailed breakdown of every dollar I'd paid for 8 years. He didn't respond for an hour. When he did, it was just, holy shit. Then, they really did that? Yeah. And nobody in the family knows the whole story? They know their version, the version where I'm ungrateful and cruel.
Another pause. Then, can I share this? With my parents, at least, because this is insane. I thought about it. Thought about how it would spread through the family, how it would change the narrative. Do what you want, I finally sent. I'm not hiding anything. They're the ones who should be ashamed. The family chat. The truth comes out. Jeremy apparently decided to share it with more than just his parents. He posted everything in the family group chat I'd been removed from. He sent me screenshots after. The whole truth. The documents showing Ashley got the house. The calculation of how much money I'd paid for 8 years. The messages from my parents about how they were going to help me when I settled down. The family chat exploded. Aunt Linda backtracked immediately. I didn't know about the deed. They said they were leaving the house to both of you. Uncle Dave, this is not what they told us. They said you just stopped helping for no reason. Cousin Sarah, $250,000 over 8 years? Someone did the math on what the house was worth now versus when I started paying. It had appreciated significantly. I'd essentially paid for their house to increase in value by $200,000, and Ashley got all of it. My uncle on Dad's side, Uncle Tom, apparently called my dad directly. Jeremy sent me a summary. He absolutely tore into your dad, said he was ashamed to be related to someone who'd used their own kid like that. The tide was turning. The truth was out.
Week 6. The bargaining. Mom called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered without thinking. "Please don't hang up," she said immediately. "Please, just listen." I didn't hang up. I put her on speaker and waited. "We made a mistake," she said, crying. "We see that now. We weren't thinking clearly. We just wanted to help Ashley because she has a baby and I've been paying your mortgage for 8 years," I said. My first words to any of them since this started. I know, and we're so grateful. We're going to make this right." "How?" We'll redo the estate planning. We'll put you back in the will, split everything between you and Ashley." "The house is already Ashley's. You can't split what's already gone." Then we'll have her add you to the deed. You'll both own it." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "So I can own half of a house I've already paid the full mortgage on. How generous." "What do you want?" she asked desperately. "Tell us what you want and we'll do it." "I want the last 8 years of my life back. I want the career advancement I missed because I couldn't afford to dress well or network or take risks. I want the relationships I couldn't build because I couldn't afford to date. I want the savings I should have, the retirement account, the life I should have had." "We can't give you that," she whispered. "I know. So there's nothing you can give me now that makes up for what you took." "So that's it? You're just done with your family?" "You were done with me the minute you signed that deed. You made your choice. I'm just finally making mine." I hung up. Week 7. Ashley's last attempt. Ashley showed up at my work. I don't know how she figured out where my new office was, but there she was in the lobby demanding to see me. Security called my extension. "There's an Ashley Garcia here to see you. Says she's your sister." "Tell her I'm busy." "She's causing a scene, sir." Of course she was. I went down, not to talk to her, but to handle it before she got me in trouble with my employer. She saw me come off the elevator and rushed over. "Finally! You've been ignoring us for over a month." "I'm working, Ashley. You need to leave." "Not until you fix this. Do you know what you're doing to us? Derek and I can't afford the mortgage payments. We're going to lose the house, Madison's home. Your home that you got for free, that you did nothing to earn. Mom and Dad gave it to us. That's not a crime." "No, I gave it to you. 8 years of my payments gave it to you. Mom and Dad just signed the papers." People were staring. Security was watching. "I have a child, a baby who needs stability. You're single. You don't need a house. Stop being bitter just because your life didn't turn out how you wanted." That one hit different, because she was right about one thing. My life didn't turn out how I wanted, but not for the reasons she thought. My life didn't turn out how I wanted because I spent 8 years funding yours. I'm done now. You're an adult.
You own a house. Figure it out. You're going to let your niece be homeless? You have two parents of your own. Maybe they can help you. Oh wait, they can't afford to because they gave everything to you and have nothing left. I hate you. That's fair. I'm not too fond of you either. Security escorted her out. I went back to my desk and tried to stop shaking.
Week 8, the foreclosure. The house went into foreclosure. It was officially listed as a pre-foreclosure sale. Mom left one last voicemail. I hope you're happy. We're losing our home. Your father's health is getting worse from the stress. Ashley's marriage is falling apart because of the financial pressure. But you got what you wanted, right? You punished us. I wasn't happy. But I wasn't guilty either. They had options. Ashley and Derek could sell the house. It was worth far more than the remaining mortgage. They could take the equity and walk away, use it as a down payment on something they could actually afford. Or Ashley could get a full-time job. Derek could get a better job. They could do what millions of other young families do. Work hard and figure it out. But that would require effort, sacrifice, things they never had to do because I'd been doing it for them. Present day, freedom. So here's where I am now. 53 days since I made my last payment. 53 days of freedom. I calculated it yesterday. If I'd invested that $2,300 a month in an index fund instead of paying their mortgage, I'd have roughly $350,000 right now, maybe more with compound interest. I'd have a down payment on my own house, a real retirement fund, a cushion for emergencies. Instead, I have $12,000 in savings, up from basically nothing, a job I'm good at, and a life I'm finally starting to build. I joined a hiking group, went on my first date in years, started therapy to work through the anger and guilt, bought a nice couch. These sound like small things, but they're not. They're the building blocks of a life I should have been building all along. My phone still rings sometimes with unknown numbers. I don't answer. The voicemails have mostly stopped, except for occasional updates about how I've ruined everything. The house is scheduled for auction in 3 weeks. Ashley and Derek are apparently moving in with Derek's parents. Mom and Dad are looking at apartments. Part of me feels bad. That part that was trained for 31 years to put their needs first, to be the good son, to sacrifice. But the louder part, the part that's finally awake, knows I did nothing wrong. They made their choices. They lied. They used me. They chose one child over the other and expected the rejected child to just accept it. The messages I get. I still get messages from extended family. They're split now that the truth is out. Uncle Tom, you did the right thing. I'm sorry I didn't see what was happening sooner. Cousin Jeremy, proud of you, man. Takes guts to stand up to family. Aunt Carol, family is supposed to forgive. You're holding a grudge over money. Random cousins I barely know. You're going to regret this when they're gone. But the message that stuck with me came from my old college friend Marcus, the one who first told me to check if anything was in writing. Your parents didn't just take your money. They took your 20s. That's the decade you're supposed to be figuring out who you are, taking risks, building a life. They took that from you and gave it to your sister. You don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them anything. He's right. What I've learned. I've learned that some people will take everything you give and still ask for more. That family is sometimes just a word people use to manipulate you into accepting less than you deserve. I've learned that being generous doesn't make you good if the generosity isn't genuine. I wasn't helping my parents out of love by the end. I was trapped by guilt and obligation and the sunk cost fallacy. I've already paid for 7 years, I can't stop now. I've learned that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to step in and say, hey, this isn't fair, let me help.
You have to save yourself. And I've learned that standing up for yourself will make people hate you, even when you're right, especially when you're right, because your boundaries make them uncomfortable. Your self-respect highlights their exploitation. To anyone reading this in a similar situation, if you're in a situation like mine, where you're funding someone else's life at the expense of your own, please hear this. You are not responsible for your parents' poor financial planning. You are not responsible for your siblings' comfort. You are not selfish for wanting your own life. They will call you selfish. They will guilt you. They will tell you that family takes care of each other, but notice how that obligation only flows one direction, towards you, never from you. Get it in writing. If someone promises you something in exchange for years of financial support, get it in writing. Protect yourself legally. And if you find out you've been lied to, walk away. It's not cruel, it's self-preservation. You can't fund someone else's life forever. Eventually, you'll have nothing left to give. And when that happens, they won't thank you for the years you gave. They'll blame you for the moment you stopped.
Where I go from here. I'm 31 years old. I have a good job. I have potential. I have a future that's finally mine. In a few months, I'll have enough saved for a down payment on my own place. Something small, but mine. Every payment will build my equity, my future, my life. I'm dating someone. Her name is Rachel. She's a teacher. We met at a coffee shop 3 weeks ago. She asked me what I was reading, and we talked for 2 hours. When I told her about my situation, not for sympathy, just explaining why I was cautious about finances, she said something that stuck with me. You can't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Simple. True. Something I wish I had understood at 24. We're taking it slow. I'm relearning how to let someone in, how to trust that not everyone wants something from me, how to build something that's not based on obligation or guilt. The inheritance they actually left me. My parents didn't leave me a house. They left me something more valuable, though they didn't mean to. They taught me what I'll never do to my own kids. I'll never put one child above another. I'll never make promises I don't keep. I'll never take advantage of generosity until the generous person has nothing left. If I have kids someday, they'll know their worth isn't measured in what they can do for me. They'll know that love isn't transactional, that family shouldn't feel like a debt you can never repay. That's the inheritance I got, the lesson learned in the negative space of what should have been. The last message. 3 days ago, I got an email from Dad. Not a call, not a voicemail, an email. I almost deleted it without reading, but something made me open it. Subject, I'm sorry. The body was long, rambling. He talked about how they'd always struggled with money, how they'd made mistakes, how they thought they were doing the right thing by giving Ashley stability. He said they never meant to hurt me, that they just didn't think it through, that they assumed I was doing fine because I never complained, that they thought I understood they'd eventually make it right. The email ended with, I know you won't forgive us. I just wanted you to know that we do see what we did wrong. We're sorry. We love you. We always have. I read it 3 times, waited a day, then responded with just one line. I believe you're sorry. I believe you love me, but love without respect isn't enough. I hope you and Ashley figure things out. Then I blocked the email address too. The question everyone asks, do you think you'll ever reconcile with them? Honestly, I don't know. Right now, the answer is no. The hurt is too fresh, the betrayal too complete. Every time I think about reaching out, I remember the deed with Ashley's name on it. I remember 8 years of sacrifices they witnessed and exploited. I remember being called selfish for finally putting myself first. Maybe someday, years from now, we'll have some kind of relationship, something distant and polite, birthday cards and nothing deeper. Or maybe we won't. Maybe this is how it ends, with me walking away and them never really understanding why. I'm okay with either outcome.
That's the thing I've realized. I don't need their understanding. I don't need them to acknowledge what they did or validate my feelings. I know what happened. I know what I gave. I know what they took. That's enough. The strangers who get it. Since I started telling my story, I've been shocked by how many people have similar experiences. Friends who've quietly funded their parents' retirements. Coworkers who've sacrificed their own goals to support siblings. Acquaintances who've been designated the responsible one and had everything piled onto them. It's like there's this whole invisible community of people who've been financially and emotionally drained by their families, who've been told they're selfish for wanting something different. We recognize each other now, sometimes with just a knowing look when family obligations come up, sometimes in longer conversations that start with, "You're not gonna believe this," and end with, "I thought I was the only one." You're not the only one. If you're reading this and seeing yourself in my story, you're not alone, and you're not wrong for wanting out. What Ashley doesn't understand. Ashley will probably never get it. In her mind, I'm the villain, the selfish brother who abandoned the family over paperwork. She doesn't understand that it wasn't about the house, really. It was about being seen, being valued, being treated like I mattered beyond what I could provide. For 8 years, I showed up. I sacrificed. I made their problems my problems. And they responded by planning, actively planning to cut me out of the only thing that made those sacrifices worthwhile. That's not family. That's exploitation with a family discount. Ashley doesn't see it that way because she's never had to. She's always been the favorite, the one who got help, got grace, got gifts. She's never had to wonder if she was loved for herself or for what she could provide. Lucky her.
The money I'll never see. $250,000. Probably closer to $275,000 with everything included. That money's gone. I'll never see it again. The house will sell at auction, probably for less than it's worth. The bank will take their cut. Whatever's left, if anything, will be split between paying off other debts and probably going to Ashley anyway. I could have sued. A lawyer told me I might have a case. Something about unjust enrichment or promissory estoppel. But litigation would cost money I don't have, time I don't want to spend, and emotional energy I need for rebuilding my life. So I'm writing it off. Not because they deserve to keep it, but because chasing it would cost me more than letting it go. That's hard to accept. Every time I think about what I could have done with that money, I feel sick. But I can't change the past. I can only control what I do now. The life I'm building. My apartment is starting to feel like home. I bought plants. Actual living plants that I keep alive. I have people over. I cook meals that aren't just survival food. I started running. Nothing serious, just around the neighborhood. But it feels good. Like I'm running towards something instead of just away. Work is going well. I'm getting promoted next month, senior developer position, significant raise. My boss pulled me aside last week and said I seem different lately, more focused. I told him I'd cleared out some distractions in my personal life. He laughed. Good for you. Life's too short to carry other people's baggage. If he only knew. I'm planning a trip. First real vacation in 8 years. Thinking about Japan or maybe Iceland. Somewhere I've always wanted to go but couldn't justify spending money on. Because it's my money now. All of it. Every dollar I earn is mine to save or spend or invest as I choose. That freedom is intoxicating. The guilt, that lingers. I'd be lying if I said I'd never feel guilty. I do. Usually at 3 a.m. when I can't sleep. I think about mom crying, dad's health problems, Ashley struggling with a toddler and money problems. Then I think about 8 years of my life. 8 years of scraping by. 8 years of putting everyone else first. And the guilt fades. They made choices. They could have been honest with me from the start. Could have said, we're giving the house to Ashley.
but we still need your help with payments. I might have said no, but at least I would have had the choice. Instead, they lied. They let me believe I was investing in my future when really I was just funding theirs. That's on them, not me. Advice I wish someone had given me at 24. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, the 24-year-old who said yes without thinking it through, here's what I'd say. Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You matter. Your dreams matter. Your future matters. Not someday. Not when you've earned it by sacrificing enough. Right now. Get everything in writing. If someone promises you something in exchange for years of financial support, get it legally documented. If they won't put it in writing, they don't mean it. Set boundaries early. 6 months should mean 6 months. If it starts stretching to a year, 2 years, 5 years, you're not helping anymore. You're enabling. Their emergency is not your emergency. Parents lose jobs. Siblings struggle. That's life. You can help without destroying yourself, but you have to choose yourself first. Watch what they do, not what they say. My parents said they appreciated me, said I'd be taken care of, said I was their rock, but their actions showed me exactly where I ranked. Second to Ashley, always. You can't love someone into valuing you. I thought if I just gave enough, sacrificed enough, proved my loyalty enough, they'd see me, really see me. But people who are determined to overlook you will do it no matter how brightly you shine. Walking away is not the same as giving up. It's choosing yourself. It's saying, I deserve better. That's not quitting. That's survival. The family I'm building. Rachel met some of my friends last week. We all went to dinner. Me, her, Marcus, his wife, a few other people from work. At one point, Marcus's wife was telling a story about her mother-in-law drama, and Rachel caught my eye across the table. She smiled, squeezed my hand under the table. Later, walking to the car, she said, "Your friends are your family." Yeah, I guess they are. She said, "That's not a bad thing. Sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you're born into." She's right. I'm building something new. Something based on mutual respect and reciprocity, where people show up for each other because they want to, not because they're obligated to. Where love doesn't come with a price tag. That's the family I want. That's the life I'm building. To my parents, if they ever read this, I don't hate you. I need you to know that. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I feel betrayed and used and discarded, but I don't hate you. I understand you were scared. I understand money problems make people desperate. I understand you thought you were doing the right thing by securing Ashley's future. What I don't understand is why my future never mattered as much. Why you looked at your 2 children and decided one deserved security while the other deserved to sacrifice for it. I would have helped you if you'd been honest. If you'd said, "We're in trouble and we need help, but we can't promise anything in return." I probably still would have said yes, at least for a while. But you lied. You made promises you never intended to keep. You let me believe I was building something when really I was just losing everything. That's what I can't forgive. Not the need for help, but the deception. The years of letting me sacrifice while you plan to give it all to Ashley. I hope you're okay. I hope you find a place to live, that Dad's health improves, that you figure things out. I genuinely do. But I can't be part of that anymore. I can't set myself on fire to keep you warm. Not again. I hope you understand. To Ashley, you got the house. You got the savings account. You got Mom and Dad's time and attention and resources. You also got the responsibility. That's yours to take care of now. That's what comes with being the favorite. You inherit everything, including the burden. Good luck. The end, or maybe the beginning. This is where my story ends, at least this chapter of it. The house will sell or it won't. My family will figure their lives out or they won't. Ashley will learn to support herself or she won't. None of that is my problem anymore. I'm 31 years old and I'm finally living my own life. It's smaller than I thought it would be at this age. My apartment is tiny. My savings is modest. I'm starting over in a lot of ways. But it's mine. Every decision I make now is for me. Every dollar I save builds my future. Every relationship I build is based on who I am, not what I can provide. That's worth more than the house, worth more than any inheritance. 8 years ago, I thought I was being a good son. Turns out I was just being a fool. But I'm not a fool anymore.
Update, edit. A lot of people are asking for updates, and I'll provide them if anything significant happens. For now, I'm focusing on my life and my future. Thanks for all the support from internet strangers. You'll never know how much it means to know I'm not crazy for walking away. Update 2, edit. To everyone asking if I'll go to therapy, I'm already in therapy. Started 2 months ago. It's helping. If you're in a similar situation, I highly recommend it. You need someone outside the situation to tell you you're not the villain. Update 3, edit. The house sold at auction yesterday. I found out through a cousin. Don't know the details and don't really care. That chapter is closed. Time to write the next one.
So that was Adam's story. 8 years of sacrifice, $250,000 paid, and a house that ended up in his sister's name the entire time. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Adam did the right thing by cutting off his family and stopping the payments? Or should he have handled it differently? Was he justified in walking away? Or does family obligation run deeper than broken promises? What would you do if you found out your parents transferred a house you'd been paying for to your sibling? Would you keep helping them, try to work it out, or cut ties like Adam did? And here's the big question. Does Adam owe his parents anything at this point? They raised him, sure, but does that justify 8 years of financial exploitation and lies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious where everyone stands on this one because it's complicated. Family dynamics always are. If you enjoyed this story, or if it made you angry, sad, or fired up, hit that like button. And if you want more dramatic stories like this one, subscribe to the channel. We post new content regularly, and trust me, we've got some wild ones coming up. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes choosing yourself isn't selfish. Sometimes it's survival. See you in the next one.